You just put it in there somewhere where it'll stay on its own. You don't need to come with a clamp.
Yeah, right about there. I think should be good.
Okay, stop.
Good afternoon. That does not feel good to say either. Usually I'm saying good morning, but in this video it's good afternoon. And as you can see from the previous clips, I unfortunately had an injury. I was working with Mike on the 336. We were installing the hard lines for the coupler that run down the boom and the stick. Of course, we were working at the peak of the boom, and Mike was kind of straddled on the cab side of the boom, standing on one of the pistons to pick up the boom, and I was on a step ladder. I was on a 6-foot step ladder, and I was on the top, I guess the top legal step, not the no step. And I did what we had to do, and I went to go take my first step down, as you can see, and ladder went that way and I went this way, and I ended up falling onto the ladder when it was on its side on the ground. You know, when it's like that. Nice rigid fiberglass ladder, of course. I fell right on my lat. My left lat is where it took all the brunt, and I ended up breaking 5 ribs. And actually, I was looking at the paperwork again today, and I was at 2 hospitals actually. One which said 5, and one said 4 to 9 ribs broken. So a fractured rib, under my understanding, according to the doctor, is a fractured rib and a broken rib are technically the same thing. And so so as you can see, I was on the ground there for quite a while, up at the big job working on the 336. So I had fallen. Thankfully Mike was there, and I got the wind knocked out of me more than ever before. I mean, I could barely breathe, and so I'm obviously on the ground, and everything hurts. Everything hurts. I didn't hit my head. I didn't, torque my neck or anything, thankfully, but my torso is insane pain when that happened. So I was on the ground. I got motivated enough, got up off the ground, and I just got right in my truck, and then I drove an hour home in some serious pain. And so I got home, and I got up to my living room and sat down on the couch, and I was with my girlfriend, and she was really worried that I had broken a rib and could potentially be causing some internal bleeding. Sometimes when a rib gets broken, it gets misplaced a ton, and it could, it can puncture something, or it can tear some stuff up inside. So she was super worried about that. Thankfully to her, she was worried. I'm like most other blue collar guys, you tough it out. So we end up going to a local urgent care. She drove from there. I was done driving. So we drove to this local urgent care, and we went inside there. Luckily, this was probably like 3:30 Saturday afternoon. And so they took us in for a 4:10 appointment to do an x-ray. So we went in there, and we got sat down, and I want to say, I don't know if it was a doctor or a nurse, someone at the urgent care came out, and they're like, where does it hurt? And so they're kind of like moving me around in this like, urgent care chair, with that like wax paper on it and everything. So she's moving me around. I get super, super pale, and I'm sweating. It's like probably 65 in this urgent care, and I'm just, sweat is just pouring off of me, and I'm like super lightheaded. I'm super nauseous, and the nurse or whoever was with me from the urgent care was like, okay, this is way out of our league. Something serious is going on. So they end up calling an ambulance, and I get transported by ambulance from the urgent care to a hospital that's fairly close to home. I go in there, and they're going to do a full CT scan. And so I'm kind of like in this hospital bed in the emergency room of this hospital. And of course, it was a packed day. So I'm actually in a hospital bed in the hallway of the emergency room, or the emergency kind of center. So end up going in there. They take a CT scan, and I haven't taken any painkillers, nothing. Thankfully, a lot of the immediate kind of pain has kind of gone away. And if I stay still, I'm good. The the ambulance drive, if you've ever driven through Massachusetts, the roads are absolutely terrible. That's the state that I live in, and the roads are terrible. So that ambulance ride, every single bump, I could feel it, in all of my torso. But so we get to the hospital, and I'm waiting for the CT scan, trying not to move. Finally get in the CT scan, and I got to go from one bed to the other bed, and tough it out, get my scan done. And then that's when they're like, hey, they were like, you got 5 broken ribs. And so they were like, it's probably not the best idea that you go home. We want to keep you a night, but we want to send you to a hospital with a trauma unit, is my understanding. And so I end up getting transferred to another hospital, so another ambulance ride. And I go to the other hospital. It's a bigger, more, I guess it's a bigger hospital, more up to date maybe. They have a whole trauma unit, which deals with kind of like super serious injuries in the emergency room. They end up going through their whole thing, and so they are the ones who looked through the x-ray even more and was like, there's a potential that there's actually 9 ribs that are broken on that side. And they also found out that a lung was actually punctured, small puncture, thankfully. So it was small enough to the point where my lung would heal itself throughout the night. So that's another reason why they wanted to keep me there. And I got one of these things, so you suck into it, just like that, and you try and get up. They said I got to get up to 2,000, which exercises that lung. So the lung will grow bigger and smaller, which will actually move that rib cage, which the deeper the breath, certainly the more painful it becomes for me. So to exercise that so they don't get pneumonia, I think is the reason. But I end up staying the night. In the morning, doing kind of the same. They're like, yeah, you're good. They took another x-ray. They're like, your lung looks good and everything. And so unfortunately, anybody who is familiar with a broken rib or has had broken ribs, there really is no treatment for it other than just time. So it's kind of, you just gotta kind of hang out and go easy. Which obviously, if you're in the trades, or even if you're work for a living, can be tough, do that. We're a small business, and everybody counts. Every man hour that everybody puts in counts. So it's definitely hard on the company. It's hard on me, and but it's it is what it is. So you know, they say kind of like 4 to 6 weeks. Today is, let's see, it happened Saturday, then Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, today's Wednesday. Today is the 5th day, including the day of the accident. So we'll see how I am by the weekend, but I wanted to make a video because unfortunately I'm not on the job site now to record stuff, and that's kind of a role that I've taken on myself. You know, the YouTube thing's kind of me, mostly me. And it's a lot of extra work to do the filming. I mean, having the camera on the hard hat, wearing a hard hat, if you know, kind of already sucks. Having the camera on there makes it suck even more. The batteries and the equipment and the remembering to turn it on and off, it's a lot. So unfortunately, you know, there's going to be probably a video that will come up that's going to be pictures. And of course, this is when they're digging the septic tank hole. Mike was showing me pictures today. It is massive. It's a huge hole. I mean, he showed me a picture today with the 336 was inside the septic tank hole, and I mean, it's just huge. It's a really big hole, especially for when you're talking septic tanks. So unfortunately, I'm not there, but I'm hoping that even if I can't really work, I can still get there maybe next week when they're setting the tank to do some drone and some other stuff like that. I really don't know. It's definitely a play it by ear. I definitely am on some painkillers to help with the pain. This is an extremely painful, you know, injury to deal with. It hurts to walk. My right hand, my right arm, or sorry, my left arm. It's right on the camera. I'm looking at it reverse. My left arm is it hurts to move the whole thing, not because of the arm, but because of the, you know, my lat is insanely sore, I'm sure, you know, due to the where it got hit. So it just does hurt. You know, this arm, I do have some, you know, pretty good motion with it, but I can feel that in my back, 100% moving that. So I just got to take it easy. This is happening. Let's see, it's probably like 3 or 4 weeks ahead of what you guys just saw yesterday when I posted a video, or not yesterday, it could be 2 days depending on when my last video was posted. Where I am today and where the job site is actually, you know, 3 or 4 weeks to try and stay a little bit ahead, so I have videos to comprise in case something like this actually happens. Who would have thought it did happen? So just wanted to give you guys a heads up that, you know, down the road there's going to be a video where it's going to be mostly pictures. It's not going to be a lot of video, unfortunately. And I thought I'd give you guys an update of this, because, you know, I'm trying to include what goes on now fully and be totally transparent with YouTube. I really do like doing the YouTube thing. I think it's a ton of fun. It's a lot of extra work, but I think it's totally worth it. And it's actually really cool for even myself to go back and look at some of the videos that I did months ago. You know, the three of us always sit around on our, you know, on our phones and are looking at pictures of jobs that we did months ago. And so it's so cool to go back and look at these videos. And, you know, my last couple of videos seem to be doing pretty well, which is really cool. You know, it's super exciting to see that one of my videos got over 3,000 views. So I just want to keep all of you guys in the loop, and I thought this would be just kind of a decent video. It's probably going to be a little bit of a shorter video, a lot of talking. Sorry if that's boring. It's not the typical content. But yeah, and I do actually, before I forget, I will put this picture up, and so it's the x-ray of my rib cage. Now unfortunately I don't have I'm not a radiation technician, not a rad tech. There you go, that's the term for it. I'm not a rad tech, so I can't exactly read and manipulate the x-rays on the x-ray software, because I had to download software to look at these x-rays. But there's no super displacement in the x-ray, but I thought it'd be cool to show you guys the x-ray. So there's 2 arrows. Those point to 2 of the ribs that I could kind of clearly see were broken. So I just thought I'd show you guys that, a little bit of more information on it. But fractures, can obviously be super small. They even said in the, part of the report that they believe that there could be more, in the 4 to 9 kind of thing, that kind of open window, because they don't actually know, because it's really hard, and this is the first time I've ever looked at them, it's really hard to kind of look at the x-rays and determine that, especially it being on my back. When they take the CT scan, I'm on a bed, so you have that bed that kind of shows up in some of the imagery. But so they actually sent it out to another place, and they will do a full review of those x-rays, and they'll come back with a solid answer. But for right now, we know there's a couple that are broken. Can definitely feel it. But yeah, and the other thing too, before I end this video, I thought would be kind of cool. I got this off of Stencil Monkey. This is kind of one of the logos that we use. We have this one as well, but this logo. So this is off Stencil Monkey, which is pretty cool. I'm not getting paid to advertise at all, and because of that, you can actually see that this spacing here is a little more than this spacing, which if you have OCD definitely will tick you off. But I don't know what we're going to use this for, but this is a 6x6, I think. But I thought that this was pretty cool. So if you're looking for something like this, because I know a lot of guys do kind of like spray paint. My dad puts like business card stickers on everything, buckets, our shovels even have them, all the tools and everything. But I saw this, I'm like, oh, that's super cool. I don't know what this could be put on, or what we could paint on this. I'm thinking like a bucket maybe, but yeah, so this is pretty cool. Just thought I'd show you guys. I'll definitely be showing this in a video at some point when I find something to spray that on. But for the most part, just wanted to keep you guys in the loop, let you know what was going on, and yeah, I just thought I'd make a video for it. But if you made it this far, thank you very much for watching, and I'm going to do my very best to now get a bunch of editing done and get ahead of the curve. I'm always like last minute on the editing, which is why the most recent video wasn't posted until yesterday, because I was in the hospital Saturday. That video wasn't even done being edited. So hopefully I can get ahead of the curve, ahead of the ball on this one, get a bunch of videos edited. That way every single Sunday, which is typically when I do post, if you haven't figured that part out yet, which I didn't say anywhere, so I don't blame you if you haven't figured that out. But every Sunday morning I try and post a video, and so now hopefully I have some time, I can whack out some editing and get ahead of it. But yeah, thank you very much for watching, and hopefully I'm back on the job site next week, at least taking video, because that septic tank is such a super cool thing, and I really want to show you guys. So, but you guys got a couple more videos before you can even watch that. So yeah, but thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.